We have on the call myself, who was one of the co-founders in Empowering Perspectives back in 2017 in Hanoi. We have Belinda and Lucila, who are the co-leaders of the in-person community in Hanoi. We have, of course, our speaker, Christine. And another part of the great Empowering Perspectives team is my friend Hannah, who is here with me in Tokyo. So there's a big group of women, primarily, who are driving this great initiative, and we're so excited to welcome everybody here today. Okay, well, I feel like it's close enough. We've got more than 20 people joining already, which is wonderful. So let's go ahead and begin. For those of you who have not attended an Empowering Perspectives meeting in the past, the Empowering Perspectives group was established in Hanoi in 2017 with a small group of women. And over the last couple of years, it has spread so wonderfully and organically to a few other cities in Asia. We're hoping to continue to grow. And here we have this great opportunity with, sadly, COVID-19 to go from in-person meetings to online. Thanks to Belinda and Lucila, our strongest chapter, our strongest community is in Hanoi. We also have really active chapters in Jakarta and Manila, always looking for ways to move and expand to reach out to more people, more women, wherever they are in the world. We are also hopefully going to be joined by our community leader from Jakarta, and our leader in Manila, unfortunately, was not able to join us because she's just a little too far away right now. Generally, the meetings which are in person typically follow a pretty simple structure. And that is that we like to start out by having everyone introduce themselves to say who they are. And the reason this is so important is because so many of us are what we call accompanying partners or trailing spouses. And I know I find myself introducing myself as, hi, I'm Laura, the wife of John, or the mother of Evelyn and Juliet. And I rarely introduce myself as just me, just Laura. So our introductions are focused on the premise that you have the opportunity here to reclaim your sense of self and to say who you are without any other connections to other people. Of course, those connections are super important and they're a part of our core being. But here in Empowering Perspectives, we want to know you, just for you. So that is part of the I am declaration, is I am Laura. And typically we then say, and I am here today to learn, and whatever it is that you'd like to learn from the speaker, why maybe you were attracted to this particular session or episode. And then one of the most important parts also is to talk about what you are doing and what goals you're working on. And why this is so important is to be able to let the world know through this community first what you are doing so that we can all help each other. So today we are going to take a couple of minutes to introduce ourselves just through the chat box. We've got 26 people on the line today, and if we went through the personal introductions, all of us, it would probably take at least a half an hour. So in the interest of time, if you guys could start one by one, or of course, all at once, start typing in. We want 3 things from you: your name, your location, and a brief description of what you are working on or working towards right now. What is that one thing that you would like help from this community on? And as people are writing in, please read the chats, because while you're reading, I want you to think to yourself, who is here that I can help today? What can I do to help someone else move forward? And it may be that if someone says, I really want to be a interior designer. Great, I know exactly the person you can talk to. And let me know how I can reach out to you, or I can connect people. And speaking of connections, that is part, of course, of Empowering Perspectives. After we do the introductions, we move into our speaker portion of the series, and then we move into our live Q&A. Following the Q&A, we have time preserved for casual conversations. We don't want to call it networking, even though that's what it is, to connect with the people whose introductions resonated with you or who you think that you could help. So part of this online transition is going to be figuring out the best way to connect and to help each other through these professional development moments. We're going to try this time with the chat. Next time, we're also going to try with online breakout rooms where we can get together in smaller groups and have personal conversations for a few minutes at the end of the session. So this is where we are. We've got the IM introductions, then we've got the speaker, the live Q&A, and then we follow up with some casual conversations between members to see how we can help move each other forward on whatever goal we individually are pursuing. And I sincerely hope that we find some of that magic here online that we definitely do in person at our Empowering Perspectives meetings. All right, so we have some people entering in the chat. Again, name, your location, it can just be your first name. It doesn't have to be your full name. Just your name, location, and something that you're working on. Don't be shy. It's a closed environment. I don't think that the chat is shared on the recording. Pretty sure it's not. So it's just the video. It's all going to be just in our group. And as you're reading the chat live today, think about how you might help someone else who is in the room with us this afternoon. Okay, so we've got people still coming in, which is so fantastic. And I'm so glad that all of you were able to be here and that the emails got through to you today. I think we should move on. As people are typing in, let me introduce our wonderful speaker for today. Her name is Christin Reuter. She is originally from Germany, now living in Hanoi, Vietnam. And Belinda and Lucila were kind enough to find her and introduce her to me so that we could highlight her here on the Empowering Perspectives online global session. Christin she is such a fascinating person because she has come from really humble beginnings, really tough beginnings, and has moved into a place where she is successful in a way that is different maybe from the traditional view of success, and also fits into the traditional view of success, and in a very unique combination of skills and accomplishments. She is a psychologist and a champion kickbox fighter. And today she is going to talk to us about how to prepare to fight and win your inner battles so that you can accomplish your goals no matter the circumstances. And of course, today, in this day of COVID-19, we definitely have some challenges to overcome. So we are thrilled today to have Christin here to tell us how she did it and to help us along on our own journeys. Christin, if you would go ahead and unmute and begin your beautiful presentation.
Hello, thank you, Laura.
My pleasure. And I will mute myself now so that we don't get any feedback.
Yeah. Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Christin, and today I would like to tell you a story about winning a fight. And but to be honest, I can't tell you the story about strength and winning and everything without telling you a story about weakness, because weakness was a part of my life as well. So before I start telling you my story, I want you to do some work, and I want you to answer the following question. You can write it down or you can just keep it in your mind, okay? So the question is, what's your biggest fear in life that is currently holding you back? Okay, I will give you a few seconds to write it down or to think about it. And I will tell you later why I asked you that questions. Okay, so when I was a child, I was very insecure. I was the only child of a single alcoholic mother, My father left us when I was 3 years old. I was living in Germany in a small town, and my mother had her own demons to fight with. So there was no support from her side, no support at all. I got bullied in school a lot because I had to wear second-hand clothes and I just didn't fit in. And it also happened that I had freckles in my face. So other kids, they always told me that you have poo in your face. And it was so bad that when I was really depressed as a child already, I was cutting myself. I had borderline behavior. I couldn't sleep. I was so anxious that I started getting panic attacks was 9 years old. My first panic attack I had in the middle of the classroom when the teacher called me to get a piece of paper, and I just started falling down. I became unconscious and I woke up after a few seconds. From there on, it happened again and again and again, everywhere where I was. And I don't know why. I didn't know about the cause. It just happened in the middle of the road. I was walking. I just became a panic attack. And there I was lying on the ground. It happened in the classroom. It happened at friends' houses, inside the swimming pool, everywhere. And I was so anxious as a child that I was afraid to fall asleep. During the night, I always had this intensive nightmares where I was dreaming that someone tries to catch me and someone is running behind me and something tries to kill me. So I was so afraid to fall asleep as a child that I just decided I'm not sleeping. When I was 11 years old, I started with excessive alcohol consumption. After school and on the weekends. So anytime where I wasn't in school, I was drinking alcohol with a group of children that were much older than me. So I had the feeling they are like me. And this is a place where I just fit in. So I was always wearing long sleeves all the time because I tried to hide all the cuts or the scars on my body, even in summertime. When I was 16 years old, I decided I'm leaving school. So I wanted to become a hairdresser. I was always fascinated with beauty and beautiful women. And when I was 9 years old, I started actually wearing a lot of makeup and perfume and all that. So I was so fascinated of the beauty scene that I decided I want to be a hairdresser. So I was 16 years old, I left school and I started becoming a hairdresser. This took me 3 years. I was 19. So with 19, I got my first job, and my first real job as a hairdresser. And, but I didn't make enough money. I moved out as well when I got my first job, and I thought, oh, I make enough money to survive, but it wasn't enough. So I worked on the weekends in a nightclub as a cocktail mixer, and also every evening during the week, I worked for a catering service just to make money, more money, just to survive. I was working 24/7. So, and of course, because my body after a while was so tired, there was no energy, that I had to take drugs to stay awake. And these drugs consumption were causing me problems with my sleep. So again, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't fall asleep in the evening. I was so hyper. So what I did was I was drinking so much alcohol in the evenings that I passed out. I was so drunk that I just passed out. And at that moment, I felt like It's so much, it's too much. I'm just dying, but I didn't care. I didn't care. It didn't matter anymore because no one will miss me. What if I just don't wake up tomorrow? No one cares about that. It doesn't matter. And I always woke up the next morning, laying on the ground in my apartment, and I always survived. I was 21 years old, and I was working at the hairdresser. I had, in the city where I lived, there were many students who studied medicine. So they were my customers. And when I saw these young girls, women, I made their hair. I was so fascinated. I was, wow, they have so much support from their families and they're studying so hard and they want to help people. They want to change the world. And they always came, and while I made their hair, they were sitting with these big books and studying. And for me, I always had the feeling they sound so smart, how they talk and how they look like. And when I was 20 years old, I decided I want to go back to college to get my qualification to be able to study. I want to become a doctor. Yeah. At that time, and still, no one in my family went to college before. Studied, went to university, and but I was confident. I said I would do it. I want to be like them. And so when I went to my family to tell them about the good news, and I was so happy, and they looked at me and they said, "Why? That's not where you're coming from. You have a job. Why are you not satisfied with your situation? Do you think you're something better than us?" This is what they told me. So there was no support from their side. They didn't understand. And at that moment, I heard all these voices in my head telling me, "You're not good enough. You can't do it. Don't do it. Stay where you are. Stay in your comfort zone. Yeah? This is not who you are." So it was me against them. It was a battle inside my head. And I did the jump and I applied for college. So I won the fight inside me. And I started going back to college beside work. So when I was 23 years old, I had a partner at that time. So it happened that I became pregnant, 23 years old. And everything was all right until month number 7. And then I went to my partner at that time and I told him, "Yeah, soon I'm getting my college degree. I'm going to study and I become a doctor and happy family." And I saw my bright life already in front of me. But then he told me, "You have to do this alone. I'm not ready to become a father and I don't want to be responsible for a child. Not now, it's too early for me. Sorry." I said, "Okay, I'm going to do this without you." So when I became a single mom, I was 24 years old. I finished my college degree. And 1.5 years later, I met my husband. He also had a son. So everything was so great. We moved together. I was able to study from home to get my psychology degree. I must say, I was always so fascinated from the human brain and the human behavior. And because I was going through all that with my mother and she fighting against her demons, not being able to support me, I just decided I want to study psychology. I want to understand all that. So I started studying psychology. And I got my degree, psychology degree. And I also got a job. I worked in a prison in Germany. I loved it. I loved it so much. And it also happened that I got a job in an institute from a university in Germany. And I had good chances to become a doctor in psychology. They were so happy to have me, and they showed me so many options. So I saw my life already. Okay, I was ready to take everything I could. I changed, and this is going to be amazing, finally. So one evening, my husband came home from work, and he told me, I have to tell you something. And I said, okay, what is it? And he said, we have to move. I said, yeah, okay, which city? And he said, no, it's another country. It's Kuwait. And at that moment, I never left my hometown. I couldn't even speak English because I left school so early. And I had 2 kids, 5 and 7 years old. And Kuwait is the hottest country on earth. So I asked him, I said, no, you're joking. He said, yeah, I have a good job opportunity, but we have to move for that. Otherwise, I'm losing my job. And I was really struggling with myself, back and forth and back and forth. And I came so far, but I decided, you know what? You got this. You got this. You went through all that. You became so strong. That's easy, easy peasy. You can do it. You learn English, you start from zero. Maybe it's even getting better over there. Who knows? It's an adventure. So I told him, okay, let's go. And we had 6 weeks to move to Kuwait, and we also had to get married. So we did everything, and then I arrived with 2 small children in Kuwait, and I was so full of energy. We are doing this. This is getting awesome. And to be honest, telling you the truth, it wasn't awesome. I broke. I completely broke. I came there. I didn't understand anyone. I couldn't leave the house. It was August. It was hot. I didn't know how to communicate with other people. I was sitting at home with 2 small children. They couldn't speak English. And so I was sitting at home and I didn't know what to do. And I completely broke. Everything for nothing. And of course, everything came back. I got depressed again, anxiety. I couldn't sleep. And yeah, I was at home for a long time. Just didn't move, stayed in my comfort zone. So it happened that I gained weight. And so after a while, I decided I don't feel comfortable anymore in my body. I joined the gym. I go to the gym. So I went to the gym in my sports clothes, and I started going on the treadmill. Sweaty, sweaty, sweaty. And after a few days in the gym, I just finished my few minutes run. I heard these loud noises, and it was so loud, and I had people screaming, and I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And of course I was curious, and I went to the squash court, and I was standing behind the glass door, and I saw this group of men. They were big, they were masculine, they were sweating, they were screaming at each other, they were punching and hitting each other in the face. And I was just standing there, and with my mouth wide open and so fascinated. I was like, whoa, what are they doing? So, and suddenly the trainer, he called me in, he did this. And I was like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. He saw me staring at them. He probably would tell me to leave, yeah? And he said, come, come, come. So I went inside, I said, okay, let's hear what he has to say. And then he said, hey, join us. And I was like, come on, you join. I looked down on my body and I'm like, no. He said, yeah. I said, come on, you're kidding. And he said, no, join us. And at that moment, the voices came back inside my head. They're telling me, you are 30 years old. What the hell are you going to do there? Stay where you are. You can't start something new now. This is dangerous. Don't do this. You can get hurt. Stay in your comfort zone. Stay where you are. They're hurting you. Yeah, you're too weak. You're a mother of 2 children. You're a wife. You're a woman. You can't do that. Don't start something new. It's all right. And it was me against them inside my head. And it was a fight. And I did the jump. I jumped really high and really far. And I won. So I joined the training, the kickbox training. And as the only woman in this group, and I must say, I loved it. I enjoyed it so much. I felt just so alive. I felt so strong. And I could actually catch up with the man in this group. I could catch up. I was training 3 times a week. And it was just amazing. I lost weight. I became stronger, flexible, self-confident. So one day after the training, my coach came to me and he said, Christine, you're going to fight. And I was laughing at him. I said, yeah, for sure. And he said, no, you're going to fight. You have to, there's a fight. There's a lady, you can fight her. I said, me? Fighting someone? I don't even have siblings. I don't know. I could never hurt someone. I don't know what pain means actually, you know? And he was like, no, I wouldn't ask you if I wouldn't believe in you. And so I was thinking really hard. And of course, I heard these voices inside my head again. Don't do it. It's dangerous. Don't do it. You can get hurt. Stay where you are. You became so far. You started kickboxing. Isn't this enough? Now you want more? Yeah. And I said, okay, I don't have anything to lose actually. And I must also say that I was really curious and I wanted to challenge myself. So I said, okay, let's just do it. Let's just try. So I went back home and I also talked with my family and I told them, I'm going to have a fight. And their reaction weren't, it was negative. So they told me things like, that isn't ladylike. Yeah, you're a woman, you're a psychologist. What if you have a client and they see you with a blue eye? That's not who you can't be both. You can't be a woman and you can't be a fighter. And you're also a mother and all that. You're too weak. Yeah, you can't survive, don't do it. But I said, no, they're not holding me back. I'm going to prepare for that fight. So I started my fight preparation. I had 5 weeks. I was training, and I got much stronger than even before. I didn't expect that, but it was just awesome. And I was full of confidence. I was like, yeah, I'm going to fight. I'm going to win. And so 3 weeks before the fight, my trainer asked me to join another gym. So I went there and I was a few minutes early. So I went inside and then I saw one side of the gym, a lady training. And I was watching her and I was like, what? She's awesome. She was amazing. She was young. She was flexible. She was strong. She was fast. She was beautiful. So I saw her training and I was looking and I was like, wow, I want to be her. I want to be like her. That's how a fighter looks like. And so I was looking at her and then something pulled me beside and it was my trainer and he said, come. And I asked him, I was like, who is this lady? Can you train me? Can you make me her? I want to be her. And he said actually, this is your opponent. And I was like, come on, no way I'm going to win that. She will destroy me. I didn't train hard enough. She is young. She has no children. She has no husband. Her work is being a coach. This is her life. She's in the gym every day. After training, I have to go back home. I have to prepare dinner for my children. And he said, yeah, don't worry, you can do it. And of course, the voices inside my head telling me not to do it came back. And I was really struggling with myself. But I said, come on, you came that far. You don't give up now. You don't give up now. And I didn't believe in myself that I'm going to win this anymore, to be honest. But it was the journey. I couldn't stop there. I said, I have to continue the preparation. Even if it means she's going to destroy me, I don't care. I can't give up, especially not in front of my daughter. My daughter saw me when I was training and she was so amazed. She said, my mommy is the strongest woman, the strongest mother on earth. So how could I go back home and tell her I'm not going to fight? There's someone who's better than me. She's 20 years younger, and she's better than me. So I couldn't just give up. I couldn't stop. And so I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And I continued to train it. So, and what I did, instead of training every day once, I knew that she was training 2 times a day for 1 hour. I decided I'm going to train 3 times a day, 2 hours. And I had to gain muscles. So I had to gain a lot of weight. I had to eat a lot. But this made me so heavy that I had to change my diet. So I became vegan. So I did everything that it takes to not give up. And from there on, everything sounds perfect. But there was one more obstacle. So 11 days before the fight, I was ready. I became another person. So 11 days before the fight, I got injured. Doing a stupid training. I just slipped and I got an ankle sprain. I never had anything broken, anything injured in my life. And I thought, okay, it's nothing, easy peasy. I'm going to do this. So I went to the doctor and he gave me a cast, he gave me crutches, and he said, oh, you can't go to a fight. You can't even do any kind of sports for at least 6 weeks. And I was like, come on, you're joking, huh? He said, no, forget about it. You can't do this. So I went to my trainer and I told him, you know what? The doctor said I can't do the fight, huh? And he said, no, you can't. You will mess up your foot if you're going to fight that day. It gets even worse. You don't want to do that. And it's okay. There will be more opportunities. So I went home with my crutches, with my cast, with my pain. And I called my best friend in Germany. And I told her about it. I was crying. I was so down. I was crying. And you know what she told me? Instead of cheering me up, she said, she wanted to cheer me up, but actually she said things like, you know what? The universe sends you a sign. It's a sign from the universe. You shouldn't continue. And it's okay to give up. It's fine, come on. Yeah? There are more opportunities. You weren't meant to do that. So after 2 weeks of crying, I decided, no. I have to try. At least I have to try. So I went back to the gym, and when my trainer saw me coming in, he said, "What the hell are you doing here?" And I said, "I'm here to train." And he said, "No, you're not." And I said, "Yes." And I was sitting down on the ground, and I said, "Let's train my arms. Let's work on these punches. I can't use my left leg. Let's work on the punches." And so what we did, we worked on my punches, and we worked also on my right leg. And I must say, my punches and my right leg became much stronger than ever before. I was ready to fight. And so the fight came. It was time. So I took off my cast. I threw away my crutches, put on my sport clothes, and I said, "I'm going to the fight now." So that evening, I also had another fight. What my trainer told me a few days before, so one fight was against this one opponent. It was a kickboxing fight, and there was another fight against another lady in Taekwondo. They couldn't find any opponent for her, so they just asked me to fight against her as well. So I had 2 fights this evening. This evening, I went back home with 2 gold medals, but I just had 1 fight. So how is this possible? How is this possible? So before my fight, before the main fight, the kickboxing fight, I had 5 minutes. My trainer told me, "Get ready. You have 5 minutes. Yeah, get ready." So, okay, I put on my gloves, I put on my mouth guard, I listened to aggressive music, it was the fire starter, and I was ready. I was so ready. And then someone took me on the side, and I was okay, and said, "Congratulations, you won." And I was like, "Who are you?" And so it was my opponent's coach. And he said, "You won the fight." And I was like, what are you talking about? And he said, "She left. She gave up. She gave up." And I said, "No." He said, "Yeah. You won. You won that fight." And at that moment, I didn't feel, before that, I didn't feel my transformation, that I became that person. I became that woman. I didn't know that because I never believed in myself. I always thought, it's okay, you just continue training, you win and win the fight, but it's all right, okay? At least you didn't give up. At least you tried. But at that moment, I realized that this wasn't me anymore. I became someone else. And when I saw her that day in the gym, I secretly admired her. I wanted to be like her that day. But at this evening before the fight, when she saw me getting ready, warming up, and she knew I was actually injured. She knew because she saw me in the gym. She knew it. She decided, "I'm not going to do this anymore." And she quit. So this is me after the 2 fights. So I had another fight that evening that I won. And I wasn't in pain during this time, but I must say, after this fight, you can see me laughing. I was actually in a lot of pain. So after the fight, all the pain came back, but it was a sweet pain. And yeah, so after that, I continued my journey. So in one year later, I became the first national champion of Kuwait in kickboxing, female champion. And 2 months later, I went to Malta and I won this international champion. No, I didn't win it. For myself, I won. It was a silver medal. I won the second place on an international tournament in Kung Fu and kickboxing. And on both tournaments in Kuwait and in Malta, I was the only woman who was a mother. I was the only one, I was the only mother at both tournaments. So for me, I won that. Yeah, and this is me in Hanoi. Last year, 28th of December, I had my first boxing fight here in Hanoi. So now I want you to think about my question at the beginning of this presentation. If you wrote it down, you can have a look on a piece of paper. Just remember what we were just thinking about. And I would like to tell you that the thing that you just wrote down is a lie. It's a lie. It's everything a lie. And when I told you about these voices inside my head were scratching on the surface and tried to hold me back, yeah, it was never me against them. You know what? It was me against me all the time. It was always me against me. And it weren't these voices inside my head. These voices were actually fear. It's fear. It's fear that tries to hold you back. Fear that tries to protect you. And so our brain is actually designed to keep us safe. It's designed to keep us safe. And sometimes, like me, we are standing on the edge and we are looking on the other side and we see the grass is much greener and people are much happier and much successful. But we are too afraid to jump because our fear is holding us back. Our fear is telling us, you can't make it. You're not strong enough. You can't jump that high. You can't jump that far. Look at you. You're too fat. You're too old. You're expired. You're a mother. Yeah? Stay where you are. It's okay over here. It's not that bad. Okay? Don't try to jump. You will fall. You can die. You can even die. But you know what? Even if you fall, let's say 4 times, you learn why you fall. And maybe the 5th time, jump number 5, you make it. You will make it. Yeah, you are able to do that. And you know where this is coming from? You know how I overcame that fear is I had to change my belief system. All of us, we have a belief system, we have values. And the most of our values and beliefs were given to us from our parents, our environment. Okay, I grew up there, so this is what I have to be. Yeah, I can't become anything else. So these are our belief system, and we are stuck in it. Once I jumped, I did a transformation. I created my own new belief system. I became another person. And I'm still Christine. And I'm still a woman. I'm still a mother. And I'm still a psychologist. But I'm also a fighter. And I can be both. And it wasn't about the journey anymore. Or it wasn't about the win anymore. It was about the journey. I had to prove to myself I can do it. I'm not giving up. And it was also not about myself anymore. It was about my daughter being a role model and not giving up for all these women out there. So I would like to show you something. So this is actually my life, these bubbles. And you can see that I'm growing over time. It becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And so the S curves, these were my transformations. And transformations, don't think transformations go like this, straight. It would be too easy. You wouldn't learn anything. They go like this, up and down and up and down, like a curve. It's curvy. Yeah? And these were my jumps, where I had to jump, where I hesitated, where I heard these voices, and where my fear showed up and told me, you don't do it. And when I jumped, I started growing because I changed my belief system. So I really believe that this whole journey, it wasn't just about winning and competing and all that, but in the whole preparation, like the preparation for a fight, I had to create someone inside me, an alter ego. I had to create someone who was able to do all that shit. And it's not that she's someone else, like she's doing different things different. She's a badass, she's kicking asses, but she's still a part of me. So, and it was also about showing my children that I'm not giving up. I couldn't give up. So, and if you wrote down your answer, or if you still have it in your mind, then I want you to cross it out. Cross out the lie you were telling me. Cross it out. If you have a pen, or cross it out inside your mind, just cross it out. You can be aggressive by doing it. It doesn't matter. Cross it out. And after this presentation, when you have time, write down the truth. Write down the truth. Okay? And thank you. That's it.
Thank you so much, Christine. Oh my gosh. And I have so many questions going through my mind. And I know that I'm sure a lot of people on the call also have questions. If you want to start typing your questions into the chat box, we'll get them as they come in. I'm going to start off by asking, well, first of all, saying there were a couple of things, many things in your presentation, Christine, that really resonated with me. And truthfully, I almost started crying with your last slide with the fearless moms raise fearless girls, because as the mother of 2 daughters, that's something that I definitely strive to do and hope that I'm doing. I'm not a kickboxer. I don't think that I ever will be. But hopefully that I'm fearless in other ways that are leading them forward. And I guess, so my first question would be, you have gone through such an incredible transformation in so many different ways that hearing your story is incredibly inspiring. But it also makes me think, oh my gosh, how in the world can I even begin that kind of huge transformation? Because I'm in my 40s, not even my 30s anymore. And when you said, I'm 30 years old, you can't start something new. I'm 40 something. And I want to start something new. Or even if I'm in my 30s or whatever it is. So where would you recommend, now that you've merged your psychology and your fighting experience together, how would you tell someone like me how to start that first step that I need to take? And I know that, after I cross out that big lie, after I cross out that lie, what's my next step? What is the next step that gets me towards my personal transformation?
Yeah. So it's actually always about changing your belief system. A lot of things that are holding us back comes from fear. And it is good if you know what causes you fear actually. What are the things that you're afraid of? Focus on your weakness and focus on your fear. And face it. So what else you can do is to change your belief system. If you think, okay, I'm going to have that goal. I can do this and that, but fear is holding you back, and you know that. Then close your eyes and imagine yourself being there. Imagine yourself winning. And this is what I did. It was a part of the fight preparation. I started meditating and I saw myself standing there on the podest on number one with the medal, and I saw myself winning. So you have to make yourself believing it.
I recently read something that was talking about something very similar, where you want to, if you're setting out to start a new goal or on a new initiative, the first thing is to think, what is it that I want to accomplish? Not the how, but the what. Because we all get caught up in that how, and that induces the fear. Instead of thinking about all the steps that you have to take to get from point A to point Z or Z, however you say it, just envisioning the end goal and taking that one step as many times as you need to get yourself there. So that is really great advice. Thank you so much.
Take the first step, even if it's just a tiny baby step. Do the first step in the right direction. And so sometimes it can be even painful. So actually humans are using around 40%, we are using around 40% of our potential, because we're trying to do something, and at 40%, pain kicks in, or we feel, oh, this is difficult, I stay where I am. And we don't go further. We think that's it. But this is not 100%. So, and it's shifting your mindset, shifting the borders, going further and further and further. And with each step, you feel, I can go further and further and further. And it's not that bad. And sometimes it's even great, because when you overcame that fear or that pain, then you can look back. So that's what I'm doing. So if there's any obstacle in my life, I always look back on these memories that I have, on this experience, and I always tell to myself, come on, you overcame all that? You went through all this is nothing. Of course you can do it. Yeah, you went already through pain, so you can also survive that.
So true. So I'm so curious. Are there specific tools or techniques that you could share with us today that you use to pick yourself up when you find yourself knocked down, either literally or figuratively?
Yeah, so one thing, so there are actually many things. First of all, I was always thinking about my daughter. I always wanted to be a role model. And it's not always, it doesn't need to be martial arts, but just showing her that I'm not giving up. Yeah, if I'm still able to move, I'm giving everything I can. And another thing is that laughing helped me a lot. It happened many times that I got a punch and I felt, ooh, that's painful, that's it. And actually at that moment, and it sounds really weird, but it helps. I started laughing. So you send yourself and your brain this positive signal, and you tell to yourself, and I did this also many times, instead of this is painful, I say, this is easy. It's not painful, this is easy. Reshifting or reframing and positive talk. It's really important how you talk to yourself. If you always tell to yourself, this is hard, I can't do it, then you start believing it. This is a part of your belief system. But you can recreate this belief system.
No, that's really true.
Very important.
Yeah, goes all the way back to the Descartes saying of, I think, therefore I am. I think I'm tired, then I'm tired. I think I'm capable, then I'm capable. I think I'm happy, then I'm happy. You know, this is absolutely true. The words that you tell yourself, you start to embody. So with your children, and I sometimes, and this is one of those beliefs that I have embodied from growing up, and I'm trying to shed, but I found that other women deal with this as well, And that is that I feel guilty spending time on activities that are for me. And whether that's work or if it's trying to work out, unlike some of the other people that are on this line that I know that are super workout people, all of those things, I think, oh, I should be spending whatever spare time I have with my girls, not on myself. So how do you find that balance between how do you take on all the roles of being a mom, being a wife, being you, and making sure that everybody gets what they need out of those relationships?
Yeah. So first of all, what I did is that I included my kids in my journey.
Oh.
Yeah. So sometimes I took them with me to the gym. I told them, here's the heavy bag, just do some punches, try out. And they even had fun doing this. And so they were part of this journey. But yeah, of course, sometimes we are searching for excuses. We always say, okay, there's not enough time. I have to spend time with my children. So the first thing that my first answer is that if you don't care about yourself, if you don't make sure that you are following your passion and you do what is good for you, you can't help your kids doing the same. Yeah. And it's really fascinating. I also had to sacrifice a lot, to be honest, because we have friends, we have a social life, and we wanted to be a good wife, we want to be a good mother. But each time when I became more and more obsessed with this passion, it also meant that I had to sacrifice something. And this, for example, was going outside with my friends and having a drink on the weekend. So instead of this, I went to the gym and I worked on myself. Yeah, I worked on myself. I invested in myself. And instead of watching a movie on the weekend with my husband, I went to the gym. Yeah. So this is sacrifices.
Choices. You're making choices.
Your day has 24 hours, and you can think about making the best out of it. And sometimes you're doing things that don't bring you further, and it's very important to spot these things, watching movies or sitting on the sofa or just going out drinking with your friends. And you can't have everything, and it's really important that you think about the time you can spend for yourself. You can invest in yourself instead of something else.
When you just said a great phrase, of course, making the best of it, and another one, investing in yourself. So Lindsay posed a great question in the chat box, and that is, how are you helping people cope, or how are you telling people to cope with the current situation and moving their careers or themselves forward during the COVID-19 crisis?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm a psychologist and also a life coach. And at the moment, it's more about coaching people, motivating people. There's actually a really good tool that I just used with one of my clients. It is called a mood board.
Oh.
And it's actually about focusing or tracking your mood during your day. So you wake up, you start in the morning, you write down how you feel. You can be sad, you can be angry, you can be even happy. It could be something positive as well. So you write all this down, you track your mood during the day, and then you try to figure out what's the cause, what is causing the bad mood. And at the moment, many people are frustrated because there are things happening we can't control. And for us in our life, we need control. we always feel better if we can keep control of the things we are doing of our life. But at the moment we can't. So, but if you know what is causing these negative feelings, what is causing you to hesitate, then you can work on that. You can work on that. And this is a way how to get the control back. And it's not thinking about, oh, next week I have to do this and that. Start with daily small steps. Just one day, just a few hours. What can I do to feel better? This is causing me sadness. This is causing me anxiety. So I have to stop doing this. This is causing me happiness. I actually feel so great the next day after talking to my mother on the phone. So I have to do this more often.
Right. Letting go of the things that you can't control and focusing in on the things that you can, and focusing on the positive things that you can be doing during that time instead of taking away.
Yeah.
So how are you using this time while we're all in quarantine and schools are closed, et cetera? What challenge are you taking on during this time?
Actually, my family and I, we have a lot of fun together. I'm working out a lot. So I keep challenging myself with sport, and also my family. Oh my God, they gained so much muscles, even my children. And we are focused on staying healthy. That's like healthy habits, and a healthy routine in general is really, really important, that it doesn't feel like holidays. And also we focus on our goals. And what I do as well, and this makes me actually feel really good, I check out at my neighbors. I say, oh, let's create a group where the kids hang out together. And now at the moment, we are every day in the evening at 6:15. We are 2 adults, and I think we have now 9 kids. And every evening, we are going just around the block on a small bike ride. Just for a few minutes. This is our routine. And I can, when I'm inside my house, I can hear the neighbor kids when they're coming. They're screaming, laughing. They're so happy. They're waiting for that. They're looking on their watch and say, Mom, I have to leave now, the bike ride. And it's just a few minutes, but it's wonderful. Just keeping up this routine, this good routines, even if it's sometimes hard to leave the house and to dress up again. You feel so much better afterwards.
So a question that just popped up in the text box, and a related question. The people that you're around, in order for you to be successful, you had to have the support of your whole family, that your husband was on board with you going to the gym as much as you do, and that he was helping, I'm sure, a little bit with the kids, or that you had another helper or other family or friends that were able to be your support network in order to help you move yourself forward. And conversely, you were told you can't so many times by people that were near to you and dear to you. So if you could talk a little bit about getting beyond the you can'ts from people that you love, and also getting the support that you need from the people that you love. I would love to hear more about that.
So it's true, I didn't get the support. I also had no help or anything like this. So when I was in Kuwait, I had to go to the gym when my husband came back late in the evening, or when my kids were sleeping, and or I even trained at home in my living room. It's actually a really good question. I always had the feeling that this can't be it. And it wasn't that I never could believe, or I never could saw myself in other situations I always wanted to do more. I always worked really hard and wanted to make more money. I wanted to be independent and all that. I cared about my mother a lot. I was always a very caring person, but what was holding me back were always these voices from others, but also inside myself. Like, don't forget where you're coming from. And I think what helped me a lot was my desire and my curiosity, that I just, after a while, I felt so much pain that I had nothing to lose and I didn't care anymore. And I was just curious. I was just like, what if I'm just trying? And even if I fall, it doesn't matter anymore. I'm just trying. And I kept trying and trying and trying. And then once you try, you start trying it and go a small step forward, you feel, I'm still alive. Wow. That's not so horrible. And I don't need to be that anxious. This is where you start step by step creating a new belief system. And this wasn't something that I just realized or I did on purpose. It just happened over a long time. So when my opponent left the fight, at that moment, actually, I never saw myself being that strong. I never saw myself really winning against her. Yeah. And but she actually showed me that I just had to believe in myself, and I created this new person.
Thank you so much for that fantastic answer. Do your family members come and watch you in your kickboxing matches?
My daughter, she never came to a fight, but she saw some videos. She said it's still too emotional for her. And she's sensitive girl. But my son, who loves to play soccer and to compete as well, he came to my last fight and he was sitting in the first line and he was cheering at me. And yeah, this was the first time. So let's see if she's ready, maybe next fight.
Do you think that either of your children will follow in your footsteps to be kickboxers?
To be honest, I must say I tried many times. When I became a martial artist and I coached many children and women as well, so I always wanted my kids to step into my footsteps, especially my daughter always said, I said to myself, it's good to be a girl and to know how to protect yourself, right? Like, unfortunately, it's not good. She gets self-confident, but she doesn't like violence. For her, it's too aggressive and too violent. And I ask her many times, I always try to push her because this is where I always wished I had started earlier with that. So I always saw her and I said, she can be the one, she can start earlier and she can become great. But it's not my life, it's her life. So she has to make her own decisions.
Well, I'll ask one more question and then pass it over to see if we have any other questions from any of the other attendees. Can we see you fight? Is there a way that are your fights televised? Is there a way to see you in action?
Yeah, my last fight was at the Vietnamese television. Yeah. And I have some fights on my Instagram account and also some pictures. I can share it in the chat box.
Sure. Or I can also send it out by email to everyone who can.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So mainly on Instagram is where we can get some. Okay. All right. Well, what other questions do people have today? are coming up on just over an hour of this amazing talk. Okay, so Hannah asks, people are chatting about COVID, of course. How is everyone coping with the current world situation, and how to carve out time for ourselves? Because we've got the whole family at home, which is awesome, but also can be a little overwhelming sometimes. So how do you recommend that people work on carving out time for themselves in this particular set of circumstances?
Yeah. Yeah, first of all, each family is different, and I think we should not reach out for perfection. So don't try to do everything perfect, because it's maybe not perfect at the moment. This is fine. It's completely fine. And yeah, so each family is different, and it's really important that you make sure that the whole family knows what each of you needs. Like if your daughter needs, for example, some time for herself, just to be creative or to talk with friends, then give her the time. Yeah. If you need to take your own time, if it's just 15 minutes per day, 15 minutes per day, like time for ourselves is really, it has a high value. Just 50 minutes, at least 15 minutes. If you can spend 50 minutes for yourself every day, it could be reading a book, it could be doing meditation, it could be doing some sport. Just make sure that each of you gets what they need. Yeah, and talk with your children. Ask them, what are you afraid of? Yeah, and explain to them and help them. Like, be supportive, be positive as well.
Thank you so
Stay
much.
healthy. Healthy habits is have enough sleep, eat healthy, reduce stress, move, yeah, exercise, even if it's at home, just a few minutes. There are many videos online. Okay? We just downloaded Just Dance for the whole family.
Oh,
so once a day, we're all dancing in front of the TV to music. It's fun. It's exercise as well.
Thank you. Well, anybody else? Somebody, yes, Belinda, go ahead.
Oh, I can unmute myself. I was going to say, I understand there's other psychologists and other people who might also want to add some. I want to say, Christine, it was super. Honestly, so inspiring. I know that I feel your energy right in, so it's so inspiring. But it's so cool. I can feel it through the Saputra. But I would love to hear also from some of the others who are also in this field and area to share their tips, or anybody as well. I think that energy we get from you, we also need to give it back and share it. And it's fantastic. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wants to add in a comment or share some advice, some stories that they could? Yes, go ahead. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Julie, and let us know.
Hello, how are you? I share everything with Christine. I am a psychologist also, and I really like your story. It's a great one. I will remember it. And it's very helpful to work with other people. Your story is very inspired, like someone else said. And I try to focus with me, with myself, and with my kids and my husband in things we can do. Not with the things we cannot do anymore. So the new things we can do. We are trying to create new things, new habits, good ones, and to accept also many things that we share, things that we don't like from this situation, but to transform those new things or the things that we don't like to good things. So we be creative in, like my kids, they are like to do like some invention. They write a lot, they sing, we dance in front of the TV, like songs in Spanish or in English. We're learning a lot English, so that's good. We have a purpose. So I would like to share that. Like it's good to have a purpose, accept everything that's going through, and to be very grateful because I'm living in a great house and I have friends that are living in a small house, apartments, or so to think what we have, our bounds or with our boundaries. This is very inspiring also. Thank you.
Yeah, gratefulness.
Thank you so much, Julie. Does anybody else want to add any comments or have any questions for Christine?
Me.
Oh, go, Hannah.
I just wanted to piggyback on something Julie said, but then also something about Christine's wonderful speech that I kind of have in my mind after listening to you. My vision that I have of you is sitting like on the floor with your cast, working on your arms, because it's like this creative thing that you're doing to overcome your current situation. So, you know, like we're all right now, we're in this, you know, world situation together. And I just kind of see you on the floor, even with your cast and even with your legs not being able to work out, you've thought of, like Julie said, this creative solution to keep working towards your goals, even with the hindrances that come about. And I thought that was really inspiring from your speech.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I guess on that same note too, one of the other things that you brought up was to be very understanding of other people and what they're going through emotionally in this situation. And I know that in our community, and I'm sure worldwide, that there's just emotions are running high, and it's difficult to know how many precautions to take or how relaxed you should be. And it depends both on what you're feeling, but then also on the comfort level of the people that are around you. So that, for example, I loved the idea of taking kids for a bike ride around the block. But I also know some people that would feel very uncomfortable with that because they just don't know where the boundaries are. And to just have those open discussions and to be kind and as understanding as possible about where other people are coming from and trying to reach them or meet them in that place is so important during this really stressful time for everybody. So thank you for enforcing that within our family, and then I guess also rings out in terms of how we're approaching other people during this time.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, it's almost 4:20. We had close to 30 people on this very first call. Christine, is there any other advice or final comments that you want to give? Could you maybe tell us your email address so that if we wanted to get in touch with you, we could reach out directly? Oh, we've got to wait, one more thing. I'm going to mess up your name. Plurudi. I'm going to unmute you. Go for it.
Anna.
Anna. Okay, got it.
Hello.
Hi, Anna.
It was very nice, very interesting. I really like the way she explained and everything, very enthusiastic. But I don't know the rest of the women who are in this group, but I think she grew up in Germany.
Yeah.
And I think, for example, I'm from Argentina, and I think for us it's extra a little bit more difficult because we have very inside that was a man word. And I think plus we have to fight with all our obstacles. We have to work very hard also with this that we have very inside. You understand what I mean?
Yeah,
because in Germany, and in Germany is totally different.
Yeah, I think very important is that women don't, we encourage each other, and it doesn't matter where we are coming from, and we don't pull each other down. Like, even if I come from a country where it's, like you said, easier to stand up, it's really important that we still encourage each other. It doesn't matter where we're coming from. It doesn't.
But
And
it's not equality. Sorry, not equality. Not equality with foreigners or racism. I mean with men and women.
I mean, I moved to
we are
Kuwait.
also we grow up with this.
And there's no, I moved to Kuwait when I started kickboxing. Actually, my second transformation, the first time that I did martial arts, was in Kuwait, and there is no equality. Yeah.
And inside, you grow up with this kind of equality. I think, for example, for me, it's not really a problem because I'm very tough. But in general, what I see is always that the women let the men grow. It's automatically, it's something that we have to work hard also.
Yeah.
Maybe you're younger than me, but I'm 50. And I think it's a big difference between my generation and your generation. This is what I want to say, that this is also a plus. We have to work on it.
Yeah, I totally understand you. I also see that I work with many women, even in Kuwait. I saw many women that were going through hell, and but there are always options, and you are always responsible for your life. It doesn't matter where you are responsible. At the end of the day, you are the one who can decide, this is what I'm going to do. And it doesn't matter who is around you or where you live.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other final comments or questions from anybody? Belinda, go.
Yeah, I love these headsets are not working anymore. I love the discussion, and I'm nodding on both sides to Anna, but also to Christin, because I do believe that wherever you come from, we go back to what she said, and I think this is really something key, Anna, is your belief system. And what you believe is controlling you and stopping you. There could be a woman in Argentina who's going through a very different, has a different very belief system. So I think it's very, very individual. It's not cultural. And I think there are women in Germany who are also in a system which, whether it's a nationalist, nationalism or religion or whatever it is, we can always find something that we can hold ourselves back. But I think the beautiful thing about Christine's story is that it is about challenging your belief system, not what anybody is saying. And how do you internalize what is it for you that you want? And nobody can answer that question but yourself. And I think all of us have what we want to do. We have our dreams. We also have those, and I love that imagery of these heads, those voices in your head. We all have that. But it's now the time, now that you're sitting here in this space, it's now the time to liberate those voices, to challenge those voices. Who says you can't? Who said it? Where did you hear it? Where? Who said it? Get them, call them up on it. And you might find that maybe those voices were here. And now it's time to challenge it. This is a beautiful time. This is the introverted time to challenge those voices, those beliefs. All of us. We saw one virus can take the whole world down. One virus. can take the whole world down, regardless of economic status, anything. It took us all down. And here we are, we're standing. Why? Because of unity, because of belief. So I just want, please, let's keep this beautiful inspiration. Let's reflect on it, but let's also understand we're all at different paces and different spaces in our lives. But the story of overcoming wherever you are, and I will give you a little hint. I'm also closer to your age group. So I can also say very, very honestly, it is not a generational thing. It's here. It's in the heart. Just hold the heart and listen. It's there. So I want to again thank Laura for making this beautiful process again happen. To Christine, who honestly, my week, my day is full of energy. Thank you. And to all the other ladies that I finally get to see.
Well said, Belinda. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Christine, I'll give you one last opportunity. Let's end this on a high note. Final words of wisdom for the group.
Stay healthy, stay positive, have healthy habits.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, for being so open and vulnerable with us, and for letting us walk that bit of your journey with you. And everyone, thank you for attending, and I hope to see you next month, which, let me tell you about, is going to be on Tuesday, May 19th. And we have a speaker lined up who is going to talk about, very similar, but from a different perspective, her Me project, and how she undertook a very personal transformation over a couple of years to do some introspection and to move things forward in a bunch of different ways. We've also got a speaker lined up for hopefully either June or right after that, who completed 100 networking events in 100 days. Fascinating. I can't wait to hear from these people. So Christine is just the beginning of a list of speakers that we're going to be having online to get us together. And please, I'm going to send out an email tomorrow asking for your feedback on what we did well today, what we could do better, and how you would like to see the series progress as we move forward in this new uncharted territory. Thank you for being a part of this first experiment with me, with all of us today. And I'll look forward to seeing you in May. Christine, I will send out your email address to everybody if that's okay. Yep. And yes, let's all please be in touch. Please reach out and we'll go from there. Have a great rest of the afternoon, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, Christine. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Belinda and Lucila and Hannah. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.